So you've probably seen the Facebook ads going around at the moment. Don't pay unless we get you leads. We'll book the appointments for you, so all you have to do is show up and quote the job. We'll call all your leads for you. We'll get you 100 leads in 30 days or you don't pay. Sounds great, right? Well, yes and no. These kind of marketing guarantees are exploding on the internet right now, and a lot of tradies are signing up for them without really knowing what's behind the curtain. So in this video, I'm gonna break it all down for you. What these offers really mean, who they actually work for, and when they're just straight up smoke screens. So if you're a growing business or you've been burned by agencies in the past, what you're gonna see here is how you could potentially save thousands and months worth of your time. Let's dive in. Now, the first thing I need to say is that these are all business models and some of them do work. You just need to be well aware of how they work and what it means for you, how they get paid, how you get a return on investment so that you better understand what you're getting into and how it could help you. But also at the same time, how you might be signing up for something that's not actually going to work for you. The pay per lead means exactly what it says in the title. They are charging you per lead, so they are generating these leads themselves and then charging you for those leads. The pay per appointment model means that they charge you per appointment, so they're doing the same thing. They're generating the leads, they are calling the appointments themselves, and then handing it off to you and charging you. When they say they guarantee X number of leads by X number of days, that's what they say to bring you in. But if you truly read the fine print, there will be tons of terms and conditions based in there. Because the truth about marketing and the truth about anything in life is that nothing is ever guaranteed. I can make the best ads in the world that can work for one client in one city, and I can quite literally duplicate the same ad, try it for another client somewhere else, and sometimes it just won't work. That's because nothing is ever guaranteed. There's marketing conditions, there's all sorts of economic conditions, there's people react differently to different things, especially with culture. Like some things just don't work the way you want them to, and that's reality with marketing. It's the reality with the whole world. So when people say they guarantee this, they can't actually guarantee it, but they're gonna guarantee it just to get you through the door. What's actually happening behind the scenes when you sign up to these things? The first thing is when you sign up with a traditional agency, and how traditional marketing works is you hire an agency, they take control of all your assets, all your advertising, websites, whatever, and they market your business for you. So any advertising, any SEO, anything lead generation that they're trying to do is under your own brand. So all the leads that are inquiring through those advertising efforts, they are inquiring with you. Now, what's happening here is that when they do a pay per lead or pay per appointment model, they will sometimes use your branding, which is great, but sometimes they will use their own branding. And these are called lead brokers. And all a lead broker is that they generate leads using their own websites, their own branding, and then they sell it to you. Or in many cases, they sell it to lots of other people so they can recycle the same lead. And it goes back to what you were doing before. You're competing for the same leads when you buy leads off other services because they sell them more than once. So when you run advertising for your own business, you've got a bit of a branding advantage because the people who are inquiring, they're inquiring with you. Whereas the lead broker, they're inquiring with whatever brand they're using. So as soon as you call them from ABC Plumbing, they might not instantly recognize it. And therefore, you're going to have to build more rapport just to get through to the customer and even book in a site visit. When you sign up for these services as well, the goal is to get you as many leads as possible or to get you as many appointments as possible. So they will do exactly that. They will run whatever ads are going to get the most leads through the door, and that might mean sacrificing a little bit on quality because remember, they're paid per lead and they're paid per appointment. So they're going to do whatever's necessary, maybe even cut corners to get you as many leads or appointments as possible. Now, specifically when you're dealing with someone that says they will call your leads or they'll book your appointments, you have to be very careful with this, especially if you're providing higher ticket services, because when you're calling the leads and the homeowner answers the phone, they expect to be talking to you or whoever provided the lead. And most homeowners want to speak to someone local. So as soon as they hear someone's voice, and let's assume they're not local, because more often than not, they're not actually local. As soon as they hear someone that sounds like they're from overseas and not actually local, their guard goes up and they won't open up as much, and they will not be able to build as much rapport as possible. Now, they might still get you in to quote up their job because they just want to quote, but in terms of building rapport and potentially closing the job, you're missing a bit of a gap there. Whereas when you call the leads yourself or a salesperson calls the leads, you know exactly what to say and how to build rapport with people so that your chances of closing the job are much higher. And what you're going to find is that the leads you get from these lead brokers or the pay per appointments, they're not going to be as good as generating your own leads and talking to them yourself and setting the appointment. And you're going to have lower conversion rates on the back end when you're trying to sell the jobs. Now, I'm not saying this is the case with every provider. Some people might have in-house people that are actually local, but this is what you have to be aware of, is where are they sourcing these callers? And by the way, when it comes to AI text is pretty good nowadays, but AI voice is still a little far away. It's not as good as you think it is, especially because when you're talking to someone live on the phone, as soon as they get the information from the homeowner, that information has to process and decipher into actual text before the AI bot can actually decide what to say back. So by the time you go through all that process, starting up to the servers and wherever it's hosted and back, you'll find a little bit of a delay. And whoever's on the other line is going to be like, am I talking to a robot? Now, I'm not saying these leads and appointments are going to be totally bad. You will still get some sales. However, you need to think about how they're actually making money, because what they can do is they can get leads for as cheap as possible and mark them up as much as possible. With the appointments, you're always going to pay more for the appointment because there's extra steps involved that they have to cover. So they have to cover those costs. They often and can lock you into a contract so you can't actually get out of it. And their whole goal is to scale by volume, because remember, they're paid by lead or by appointment, not necessarily by quality. What you might find from using these services is leads that don't answer the phone, bookings that totally ghost you and never show up. You're not actually building a lead generation system for your own business. You are entirely relying on them. So you yourself do not have a lead generation system for your own business. You'll find very low conversion rates because you're not building that rapport with the customer. What you'll find is you don't really have a marketing or a lead generation system. You just have a lead vending machine that you pay for and you get more back. Now, these systems might work really well for one-man bands or solo operators, might work for businesses with little to no time to actually spare and call the leads, or anyone with a smaller budget wanting to get some quick wins through the door. But for anyone with a growing business that's trying to scale and get more high intent, higher quality leads that want to pay more money. But if you're a growing business trying to scale and you're trying to get higher intent leads that want to pay more money, you might find that this system isn't going to work for you because your cost per acquisition is going to be much higher than doing it the traditional way. What you want to do is set up your own marketing with your own lead generation, all owned by you, so that you can generate exclusive leads for your own brand. These people will have higher intent and they're willing to pay more money because they've seen your face over and over again and they trust you more, and therefore they'll value your services even more. What I wanted to do before I end this video is just go through some of the math associated with this model so you can actually see for yourself. So if we put an investment in per month of $5,000 for each model, and let's just say our revenue per job is $2,500, so we're selling water heaters. Here what we can do is get some rough numbers of what the cost per lead might be. So if we're a traditional agency and we're paying a retainer plus the advertising spend of, let's just say, $3,000 and $2,000. Now, I know from running my own campaigns for water heater installs, the rough cost per lead, for a good one at least, is $50. Now, if it's going to cost the person, let's say, $20 for a bad lead compared to $50 for a good lead, they need to make a markup on it. So let's just assume that it's $50 as well, but let's just say it's a cheaper lead that they don't bother qualifying. Now, on a pay per appointment, again, we're using up a lot of our time to actually book these appointments for you, plus we need to generate the leads. So they're going to charge you significantly more. Now, let's just say it's $150 per appointment. We can see here that our leads generated is 100 for the pay per lead, only 33 appointments for the pay per appointment model. Now, the site visits generated, because we're doing it the traditional way and the client has already seen our branding over and over again, we've got 80 site visits out of the 100 leads that we generated. Now, because we paid per lead, and it might have been a lead broker that's just given us leads, we're going to find that the actual booking rate is going to be a lot smaller, because they're going to be less intent. So here we've got only 40 site visits booked. And for the pay per appointment, we've got 33 again, because remember, they've already booked the appointment for us. Now, the quotes accepted, this is going to be fairly high, especially if you're a good closer yourself. I've put it right up there at 60%, which is totally achievable. We can even put it down as much as 40%, and we've got 32 quotes accepted at $2,500 per job. So we've got revenue of $80,000. Now here, we've gone to 40 site visits, and again, the lead is not going to be as high quality, so we're going to have to work really hard to actually win this job and put in some sales skills. But if we put it, the close rate at even 40%, we're down to 16 sales. So now we've only made $40,000. If we go to the pay per lead model, let's just say it's a 40% closing rate, which is fairly high. We've made $33,000. So these numbers don't quite add up, especially when you start scaling. Now we can adjust these a little bit. And let's say the pay per lead, let's say they charge us $35. Let's just say they get a really cheap lead. We've got 143 leads, which at first is better than the 100 leads. We've got 57 site visits, 23 sales. Now we're at $57,000 of revenue. Now for a $5,000 investment, that's still not too bad. Now let's just say the booked job rate is, let's say 30%. Actually, we'll make it 90%. And with a close rate of 40%, now we've got $128,000 in revenue. Now that's if the pay per lead model is cheap, if you can get your booking rate really nice and high, and if your close rate is really nice and high as well. Now a close rate is entirely possible of 80% here too. So we can make 160,000. With the booking rate, you could get 40% close rate. You could even get 20%. And now look how much revenue you made. Now again, you could get a really nice, healthy 50% close rate, but if your cost per lead is 250, now again, it's not working out too well. So what you want to do is actually work out these numbers and figure out what they might be. Because what you'll find is the booking rate for a pay per lead model is going to be fairly low because the leads are not accustomed to you. And same for the close rate. It's going to be 20%. Now I actually have a client that went through this pay per lead model, and he had 220 leads over 6 months, a rough cost per lead of $22 they were charging him. He got 45 site visits out of it, and he only got 5 jobs out of it at 10 grand a pop. So you can see the booking rate was only 20%, which is super low for the amount of leads that he generated. And the close rate was only 10%, meaning his cost per acquisition to acquire a customer is $1,100 for a 10 grand job. Now, if we go through the same method with the traditional way, if we get a cost per good lead of $60, we generate 83 leads, we get 33 site visits, we get 10 accepted quotes at 10 grand a pop. We've got 100,000 in revenue. Our booked job rate is 40% of the leads we get, and a close rate of 30%, which is very achievable, meaning his cost per acquisition to acquire a job is $500. That is less than half of the pay per lead model. If you've been tempted by these done for you marketing guarantees, just remember this. What sounds easy upfront might actually cost you in the long run in money, time, and missed opportunities. If you want real systems that can scale your business and not some call center from another country pretending to be your brand, click on the link below, book a strategy call, and we'll show you exactly how we can get that done. We don't do gimmicks, we build systems that actually work. If this video helped, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.